and welcome to another episode of A Dash of Chaos. It has been a while. I feel like I say that every single time, but it has been a while. And the last episode I did was an amazing episode. I had two incredible guests with me, two really good friends, and we got to talk about a video game that I have never played in my life. If you haven't already checked that out, please do. But I am back. I am by myself today, and this episode will be a slightly shorter one. And it's going to be about, drumroll please, Warrior Nun Season 2, which just released on November 10th on Netflix. Wow, what an exciting time. It has been 2 years since Season 1 first premiered, so that was July 2020. And I have been so excited for Season 2 to come out. It was such an incredible, amazing time when it was announced that it was going to be renewed. I was very excited, and now we're finally here. So basically with this episode, like I said, it's going to be a slightly shorter episode, and I'm just going to be talking about my initial reaction to Season 2. Full disclosure, I have already watched the season again 3 times, so I'm on my 4th rewatch of it, and I'm at episode 5. Basically, all I've been doing is rewatching the entire season on repeat over the past 3 days, but I did take notes of my initial reaction to the season, so that's what I'm going to be talking about here. And then in future episodes of the podcast, I'm going to deep dive into specific topics about Season 2, and maybe even talk about a little bit of Season 1, since I've never actually done a podcast episode about Season 1, since I started this podcast after it had actually aired. So first of all, absolutely love Season 2. Loved it more than Season 1, easily. Not that Season 1 was bad by any means, but I feel like Season 2 really just had so many elements that I personally was going to enjoy more. It was very character-driven, and that being said, the characters were way more fleshed out, and one of the biggest things I enjoyed the most was Ava being more of a character and less reactive. So in Season 1, obviously there's a lot of world building, and Ava is reacting to learning about the world just as much as the audience is. In this season, she is a bit more sure of herself. She knows her place. She's accepted that she's the warrior nun. So it's a lot more fun to see characters reacting to her, and kind of their storylines being very closely interwoven with hers. Not that it wasn't in Season 1, but a lot of her decisions really hugely impact the trajectory of a lot of other characters as well, new and old. So that was a lot of fun to watch, and Alba Baptista did such an incredible job. I'm going to say incredible a lot. It's like the number one word I'm going to use for this season. And she just really shone. She really did. Again, not that she didn't in Season 1, but with Season 2, I just feel like she just had a lot more to play with, both physically and emotionally when it came to Ava. And she knocked it out of the park. Then, of course, my personal favorite character, Beatrice, who, since I've never really talked about Warrior Nun on my podcast here, Beatrice is a character that is so incredibly special to me. A lot of her character is very much representative of who I was as a young bisexual, really repressed bisexual teenager. Obviously, Beatrice isn't bisexual, but just as a queer teenager, and growing up in a very Catholic, very conservative, very restrictive home, a lot of her journey is very similar to mine, a lot of the things that she went through. And from Season 1, I immediately attached myself to her, and in Season 2, just even more so. I felt so much for her, so many of her struggles and her journey, and of just being more comfortable with herself and really accepting who she is and her feelings. for Ava, which again I won't go into too much detail, and I'll try not to spoil anything here since this is the initial reaction. But yeah, I didn't doubt for a second that the writers would do anything with not just Beatrice's character, but like with all the characters, but especially with Beatrice. They took so much time and effort and care to write her story in season one that I knew that they would just handle everything so beautifully, so respectfully, both through the writing and through Christina's acting. I think they were just they understood the audience. They understood what this character is about and who she is, and I'm excited, hopefully, if we get another season, for her story to continue on. And unpopular opinion, probably one of my favorite storylines was actually Lilith's. I know a lot of people had their reservations about what happened to her in season 2, but I thought it was a very cool storyline. I thought it was a very interesting, another like interesting level and cycle to Lilith. And I think there's just so much to her. We got like little glimpses of who she is, and then in season 2 we got so much background, and that was very cool. I was not expecting to hear any background, see any background when it came to Lilith. So that was really very, very cool. And there's a whole storyline there about her vulnerability and her weaknesses to manipulation, and it really expanded from season 1. And then we got a lot more Camilla, we got a lot more Mother Superior, and then we had new characters introduced, Miguel / Michael. Sorry, there's going to be spoilers, but Miguel / Michael and Yasmin. I thought they were all so much fun to really deep dive into, like Superior and Camilla, which are two characters we didn't get to see too much in season 1, and then for them to introduce these new characters was really, they fit into the cast and into the storyline very easily. I didn't feel like, it was coming out of nowhere. Overall, the writers accomplished exactly what they wanted to do with their season, and to me, it was a complete success. I don't say this very often, but I don't think there's anything that I would particularly change. And I don't mean that in a negative or positive way. Would there be things that I would like to see? Yes, that doesn't necessarily mean it would fit into season 2. But I do often find that when I watch television shows, especially with a sophomore season, there are things that I feel like could have been done better, or could have been done differently. But with this season, I just felt they knew exactly what story they wanted to tell, absolutely, with full conviction, and they told it with everything they could. And one of the downsides of fandom, I think, is that they build up their own expectations in between seasons, whether it's through writing out their headcanons or fan fiction, and so they build up this whole idea in their head, and then when a season comes out and those particular scenes or particular things that they want don't happen, they think that the season is disappointing, which I think is a really silly way of watching something that you enjoy. You have to recognize that you need to watch it for the show that the writers are creating, not what you want, but the story that they want to tell. And if you trust the writers and believe in them, they will tell that story very, very well. And that's exactly what happened with Warrior Nun season 2. They knocked it out of the park. I don't know what else to say. I was just so absolutely impressed by it. I don't think I could be more impressed. If they somehow top themselves in season 3, if, cross fingers, it is renewed for season 3, I don't even know how to deal with that. I feel like they've raised the bar for themselves, and, that's such a good standard to aim for. And if I know that they can reach it again, but if they somehow even raise the bar higher than season 2, that's just impressive in my opinion. I think they would literally be the best writing team on television ever. Personally, that's my personal opinion, or objective opinion, honestly. I think Warrior Nun is a culmination of the development of TV in this fantasy sci-fi genre, specifically for women, and it is a show that we have all wanted for so long, and has always been within reach, but for some strange reason, television out there has not reached it, and now Warrior Nun is here, and it is kicking everyone's ass. Quite literally in the show, and just as a television show. And I couldn't be happier as a fan. And then, of course, how can I talk about Warrior Nun without talking about Avitress? Wow, what a relationship. They really did them so much justice, and it was so special to watch and so emotional to watch. I couldn't believe how well they wrote their relationship, and Alba and Christina did such an incredible, and again, I'm using that word incredible, amazing. I don't know what else you want to say, but the job that they did to portray those two characters falling in love with each other and to portray it in such two specific different ways, it was so organic, it was so endearing, and it was love. You felt the love between those two characters, and kudos to the writing and kudos to the actors because you felt it. And they got the superhero treatment, really, which has only ever been done for straight characters, or at least like a straight couple. And to see it in a queer couple, it's everything I could have ever wanted. I have no qualms about it. I think they did it perfectly from the start of season one all the way to the end of season two. They're the perfect couple. They are the standard. They're the bar. They that if you're not reaching that level in queer representation, then you need to try harder. In my opinion, like you need to reach Avitress. That is it. Um, yeah, and I'm excited for the potential for season three. I really do think the viewers can get the views for it. I think Warrior Nun is number three in the world next to The Crown and Manifest, which are two huge shows that already have, they're on their fourth and fifth seasons respectively. And I believe Manifest is actually in its final season. So, of course, it's going to have a lot of viewers. And The Crown is wildly popular. So I think it's doing such a great job. We just need to continue watching. And like I said, I'm on my fourth rewatch. So this would technically be the fifth time I'm watching it. Um, or third. I don't know. Honestly, it's all blended together. It's more than one. I've definitely seen the season more than once. And like I said, I do think the fans can do it. The fandom reaction has been huge. Trending on Twitter, all those things, whether it's hashtag Warrior Nun, hashtag Warrior Nun S2, hashtag Warrior Nun S3, Renew Warrior Nun, Avitress, all of these things have trended on Twitter. I can see it, and it's been wild. And just all of the fan art that's already come out, the fan videos or edits. Oh my gosh, like top tier. I don't know. God works fast, but the Warrior Nun fandom works faster. So I can only imagine how all the writers, cast, and crew feel just seeing the reaction because of all the hard work they have put into the show to see it so well loved. And I know they know how much their fans love the show, but to see that immediate reaction online through social media, that's such a cool interaction to get. And I know like that's the world we live in, but it is kind of that instantaneous love and gratitude that you get from the fans that in a way in fandom previous, I'm making myself sound old as if I'm actually old, but I'm not. It is so instant in a way that even I'd say like less than like 5-ish years ago, maybe a little bit more than 5-ish years ago, it wasn't as intense. So it's really cool to see that immediate engagement, that fans have, and they can interact with the people that create the show, whether again it's directors, cast, crew, writers, any of those people. All of them have been interacting with the fans, and the fans have been so appreciative, myself included. Like I said, this is just my initial reaction to the show, and I already feel like I want to talk about more things, but I'm not going to go into too much detail. Oh, and one more thing that I want to say was like, wow, the fight scenes in season two, they really brought their game. The stunt team was fire, absolutely incredible. They did such a great job, and everything was so seamless. You've seen a lot of, if you've seen a lot of the behind the scenes that a lot of the cast crew and everyone have been sharing, the main cast did a lot of their own stunts, so it was very seamless, and it just added to everything and added to their characters as well to see the actors really do their own stunts. And pull them off so well and so seamlessly. So, like I said, overall, such an incredible season, and I'm gonna use that incredible word multiple times. Maybe I should like look in a thesaurus for a different word, but I feel like that's my number one word for it. And once I start deep diving into, probably going to talk about Ava as a character, Beatrice as a character, and Lilith as a character, just like 3 episodes separately on them. Talk about Avatrice, talk about the overall plot, and then talk about my theories, I guess, for future seasons and where I, not where I want the story to go, but what I would like to see. Um, and yeah, again, just keep watching, keep talking about it on Twitter, Tumblr, all those things, social media. I don't have a Tumblr, but keep talking about it on Twitter. And let Netflix know that we want season 3. Show them that this is the show that's worth renewing. Show them that even though they did not do a lot of promotion for season 2, that they are missing out on doing so, because this is a once in a lifetime show that has such an incredible audience, and fan base that is willing to go to hell and back for everyone who's working on it. So yeah, that's kind of my initial reaction. It is very exciting to be recording again, and I have waited a long time to start talking about Warrior Nun, and I think it's really now the perfect time with season 2 coming out, to start episodes on Warrior Nun. So hopefully you will join me for future episodes, or if you've listened to my previous episodes, thank you for coming back. I know I'm not consistent with this, and then I'm also going to be moving, so will there be a pause between episodes again? I really hope it won't be too large of one, and I do apologize if there is. Life does get in the way, but I am so incredibly stoked, so excited, so elated to have Warrior Nun Season 2. I'm ready to talk about it. I'm ready to bring some guests onto the podcast as well. And I'm ready to answer any questions that you have, that you want me to answer when making these episodes. So if you do have any questions that you want answered specifically, definitely either at me on Twitter, which is ADOC podcast, or you can DM me on Twitter as well. I definitely will want to answer any questions if you have any, if I didn't already answer them throughout the episode. So thank you for listening to this initial reaction to Warrior Nun Season 2. Until next time, I am Dash. This is A Dash of Chaos, and I cannot wait to start this series on Warrior Nun through my podcast episodes. Until next time.